You're listening to FooBar Weekly on KDSR, Demo Spin Radio, brought to you by ARC Network Live 365, the station where everyone deserves to be heard. The following program contains strong language and adult content. Listener discretion is advised. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
The fucking thing does in fact suck. That's why we do it low budget as fuck. We're going to welcome our guest direct right away without little fanfare. This man is legendary as far as I'm concerned. It's Leonard Kinsey, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, happy to be here.
Author, publisher, YouTube sensation. We'll go with that. Yeah. Right off the bat, the way I found and first heard of Leonard was he wrote a book called The Dark Side of Disney. Now, for those who are uneducated, Leonard, tell us a little bit about Dark Side of Disney.
Oh, it is I call it I think the subtitle is The Anarchist Cookbook of Disney Travel Guide. So it is partially a travel guide for Walt Disney World in Florida, but just told from the perspective of someone who likes to party, drink, do drugs, listen to rock and roll, have sex, all that good stuff.
So it's based on possibly somebody's real life.
Oh yeah, so that was a lifetime of research that went into that book, and so there's the travel tips and the travel guide stuff, and then I'd say about the other half, it's like just stories about crazy adventures that I had or that my friends had, my cast member friends had in Walt Disney World.
Now, were you weren't ever a cast member, were you?
No, I wasn't. I kind of regret that. I kind of wish I had been at some point.
Hey, there's still time, man.
Yeah. If they'd have me, which I doubt, especially now.
Well, you're not banned from property, are you?
I've been told not to go back. Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't get the official slip. You just got the warning.
Yeah. I definitely got the warning. Yeah.
Now, one of the funniest things that I ever saw you do, and it was on one of your YouTube videos, was the Beverly Gin and Tonic.
Oh, ugh. Yeah.
Now, Beverly's disgusting. I've talked about it on the show before. I'm a big Disney fan myself, and Beverly is disgusting off the bat, and I happen to think gin is disgusting. Personal preference. So mixing those two things, it was either going to be really good or really bad, and your reaction to it just summed it up like perfectly.
Yeah, I tend to prefer my tonic water less sweet. So I figured, shit, that's about as good as you can get. There's literally no sweetness in Beverly. Turns out you do need a little bit of sweetness in a gin and tonic. It was terrible. It was really awful.
Now, by the time you got, because you made the drinks like at your condo, right?
Or
hotel room or something.
So they're regular soda dispensers, but they're made for these little teeny cups, right?
Yeah.
So the drip tray is like very close to the spout. So I got some sort of a bottle that didn't really fit in there, and it sprayed all over the place. It didn't film that, but made a huge mess at Club Cool, and then stuck it in a bag and brought it back to the. I think we were staying in the Boardwalk, one of the Boardwalk DVC villas, and made it back there. And
I mean, it's not incredibly far from Club Cool to the but by that time it had to be warm and flat.
It was warm, and since I didn't fill it up all the way, it ended up being pretty flat. And none of those things added to the enjoyment, obviously. It was an all-around bad drink. And then I did notice, though, a few years ago, there's that new Coke thing in Disney Springs. They've got like some sort of World of Coke sort of thing. And they have a bar there, and they are making cocktails or drinks with Beverly in it.
Oh, Jesus.
So they must have figured something out. I didn't figure it out.
I mean, at least at that point, it'll be, fresh Beverly, not poured into a bottle and lugged,
Yeah. And I'm sure they put some
mile.
sort of simple syrup in there or something to sweeten it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume so. I would hope so.
I would hope so too.
When was the last time you were you were on property?
Oh, wow. I think it was the last time I was there. I made a video about how I wasn't going to come back anymore.
Was that the Goodbye Epcot video?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
I think I watched it earlier. I watched a couple of the videos again earlier. I think that one was like 4 years ago, or no, I think it was even a little longer than that.
It might have been a little bit longer. That I went to Disney Springs since then, but that was the last time I was in one of the parks, and it, the hope was that in the time between then things would start getting better. But since that time, they tore down Universe of Energy. What else have they done? I don't know. They redid. No, I think Frozen had already entered the park, but
yeah,
I don't know.
A while.
Just a lot of stuff. Things didn't get better. Oh, well, they tore down half of Communicore.
Yep.
So no, and now they're bringing the fountain back, so that's cool. But no, I just really haven't seen any sort of improvement. And then, of course, in the past few days, we got the terrible news that all entertainment has been laid off. So
yeah,
that's not awesome. And they're still charging the same price.
Yeah. I mean, I let my annual passes go again last year. Yeah, and it was actually, we let them go before COVID, just because of the amount of changes they were making. Yeah. Most of Hollywood studios was shut down.
Oh yeah, sure.
Between, I think I let them go right before the Star Wars area opened up. So I haven't seen that yet. They closed the Great Movie Ride.
Oh, that was a shame.
That made me sad, man.
Oh, that was a real shame.
Really made me sad. Nicole, were you trying to say something? You were like raising your hand.
I was gonna say I was gonna ask Leonard what his. I didn't want to interject. No, I wanted to ask Leonard what his favorite OG Disney attraction was.
Oh well, it definitely is going to be Horizons. That's that one was a big one for me.
And that's one I never got to ride.
That's a shame. Luckily there are some good videos of it. Hoot and Chief did some good documentation of it. That was a big one. The original Imagination was pretty impressive. And like everyone else, Haunted Mansion and Pirates. I had a real soft spot as a filmmaker for a Great Movie Ride, and I had a lot of really good friends who worked there. And that place was like a family, and geez, that was heartbreaking when they tore that down.
Yeah, it was. And there have been a couple of rides and a couple of attractions that have changed and didn't necessarily get worse. Didn't really get better. I mean,
like Spaceship Earth.
Yeah. And I'm glad they were supposed to close it for refurbishment. They reopened it apparently. And, I guess now with the way money's looking, they're not sure what's going on.
Right. Yeah. Who knows?
But some of the changes, like Great Movie Ride's a great example. And, I didn't really become a Disney fan and really experience it really until I was in my late 20s. I grew up in New York. I didn't move down to Florida until 2012.
Okay.
So, I didn't get that experience of the way it was even before that. My first trip was actually in 1992. It was the only time my family ever went there, and it was very brief. My father was there on a business trip, so we had tickets for it. We had one-day passes. I think actually we had 2 one-day passes. So one day we went to the Magic Kingdom, the other day we went to Epcot, but we didn't know shit. We didn't know what we were doing. We had no plan. Yeah. So we kind of just putzed around and really didn't get to experience it.
Yeah.
That's too bad. But I do remember and I was I don't know, I think it was like 12 at the time. 12, maybe 12, in that ballpark of 12. And I remember like going on the teacups, and that was awesome. The one attraction that I really loved when I was there was the Jesus Christ, the submarines.
Oh yeah.
And that was that, like I fondly remembered that, and then by the time I came again, it was closed. Like, that sucks.
they still have them in Disneyland. It's Nemo themed, but you know, get the general idea. But yeah, that was a great ride. Yeah. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's what it was called. My brain locked up. But you grew up in Clearwater, and
I did.
One of the bios that I read on you, like you had visited by the time you were 18, you had been to the parks, you know, I forget what the number was. It was something crazy.
Yeah. I don't...
So you grew up, you know, around it. At what point did you become the more than a fan, where you were, you know, really exploring the backstage areas and the, you know, the off limits areas?
It was when I became a teenager and the rides started being, you know, exciting or fun. And after going on them a million times, it was just kind of like, oh my God. But then, you know, I was always kind of a very curious person, and started wondering, okay, well, if I'm not gaining enjoyment from the rides anymore, I can gain enjoyment from figuring out how they work. So it was more like that intellectual curiosity of how are they making this really cool stuff happen.
And that's been my fascination with it, more so than the, you know, than the show part of it, is what makes the show.
Yeah.
You know, how do things work? How did they put it together? How does the illusion work? How does, and that's that, and the history. Just the plain straight up history of not just Disney World, but Disneyland, how it came to be. And those, I'm a big history buff. So that sucked me in. I remember getting a book as a kid that, you know, was like showed Disney World being built. And I think I still have it somewhere. And that just like sucked me in, that part of it.
I'm the same way. And, you know, they're so good at hiding how it's done. I mean, they're masters at that, and that makes it even kind of more fun to try to figure it out. It's like figuring out how a magician does his tricks.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And so that fascinated me, and I, you know, continued to, even to this day, to research those things and figure them out. And like you said, interview the people who made it happen, and release their books. And you know, there's always a new story, and their stories are always interesting. There's just so much history in that company, and so many talented people who work there, that it's kind of a never-ending treasure trove.
Exactly. And we almost need to capture those stories, because they're all either getting up to the point where, you know, where we're losing them essentially. And, you know, their stories really do need to be told. We have a question from Maddie in Australia.
Wow.
Disney or Universal Studios, what is better?
Oh, wow. Well, you got to give it to Disney. I love Universal. In fact, I was just there a few weeks before the whole pandemic hit, and I had a really, really, really good time. And they have some world-class rides, like the ET ride. ET is like one of the best dark rides in the world, I would say. Okay. So when they do it right, they can do it right. But you got to remember, like 90% of the people who built those things at Universal started at Disney.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do, and they also do different things. I can't write Dark Side of Universal. That's not a book that exists, because Universal embraces that stuff. Disney
There's no
doesn't.
mystique. Like one thing, and I really like the movie. I can't remember what your opinion on it, but Escape from Tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
And the way that was filmed, obviously it was filmed on property without permission, and, you know, the way they did it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. The story was, you know, was what it was.
Weird. Yeah.
Weird. Definitely weird. But just the fact that you're watching it knowing they did it how they did it, with, you know, shooting it on iPhones, and everybody was, you know, trying to look as touristy as they could. That absolutely fascinating. I would say Disney over Universal, just for sheer volume and history.
Yeah. I agree.
But there's no mystique at Universal. It's just, this is what we are. This is what's going on. And them showing that behind the scenes and showing that little edge of how things work, you know, almost makes you feel like you're backstage at you know, behind the scenes on a shoot.
It does. And I think they're being very innovative. Universal is, and they've come out with a lot of rides that are pretty damn awesome. But what they don't do as well is just the completely immersive type of rides like Pirates or Haunted Mansion. Like I said, they've got ET, Mummy is pretty immersive. The Harry Potter stuff is, but God, they sure have a lot of those screen-based rides, and they really lean on that pretty heavily.
Yeah.
So, but again, I really enjoy Universal. I really do. I think it's both those parks are great.
As long as you go into it, knowing what to expect. If you go into Universal expecting that Disney experience, you're going to be a little let down.
There's no magic, I would say, at Universal. You don't get that I'm walking into a totally different world sort of thing, except in the Harry Potter area. They did a really good job there.
And they did go, they did go all out for that.
Yeah.
But I think there was no way to not do that. I think if there's no way you couldn't make it immersive.
Yeah, which is great.
No way.
They spent the money on it and did a good job.
Let's see. I had a tough week. It's been nice here. Oh, I heard about that. Maddie. That's unfortunate. A friend of Maddie's was killed in a motorcycle crash down in Australia.
Wow.
That sucks. From Nicole's mom, not to be pessimistic, but do you think the Disney parks will survive the pandemic? Yeah, unfortunately the parks will, not so much the people, the cast members and employees of any of the parks. But Disney, I forget what the total number of layoffs is at this point, but
28,000 between here and Anaheim.
Yeah, and Anaheim's still shut down. That's some people, especially on this side, forget that they haven't even opened.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I think that the parks are not gonna survive, but they're gonna do more things electronically and on video and streaming services and like stuff like that, more digital stuff.
The parks will survive, even if they got to choke things back a bit in years to come. It'll bounce back. I can't see any way it won't. There's too much invested in it to let it go.
Yeah, I agree. I think the parks will be there. All the projects they were planning for them, except for the ones that are just about done, like something like Ratatouille and Epcot, those are all going to be abandoned. The real shame is the cast members, because a lot of these people moved to Orlando specifically to follow their dream of working at Walt Disney World. And now that they have been laid off, they're going to go back home. If Disney does start trying to rehire, there's a lot of people who aren't going to be able to come back. They're going to have to start from scratch. And that's a hard thing to do.
Very, especially with the sheer number of positions there, and especially on the entertainment end, the specialized
exactly
new blood coming in gets trained by the veterans, and if you now don't have anyone, that starting from scratch is definitely going to be a big obstacle. The parks will exist. The parks aren't going to shut down and be torn down. I can't see that happening. I could see them being closed for an extended period of time, areas of parks being closed, rides and attractions not operating, being closed down and mothballed per se, but be completely closed down. And what I was just about to say about the Disneyland park in California, their projection to open up, last I heard, was next summer. Because the states really got the fist on that, and they're saying until they're in condition orange, whatever the fuck that means, they're not opening. So
terrible.
All those people are not, like, at least here in Florida, the parks are partially open, mostly open, limited capacity. So there's at least people working here. In California, it's nobody.
Yep.
Maybe
we had a question. We had a question from Maddie. Maddie asked how many worldwide parks Disney had. The answer is 11. I looked it up real quick, and they have Disneyland resorts, Tokyo, Hong Kong, and then plus the ones here and other ones too.
Yeah, Shanghai.
So it's 11 parks worldwide.
Well, just here in Florida, they have the 4 main theme parks, 2 water parks, right?
Yeah.
And Disney Springs, which is the shopping and entertainment district. Disneyland, the Disneyland Resort, has Disney and California Adventure, which, I mean, they count as 2 separate parks, but it's so condensed, it's almost the same thing. But I mean, they have a lot of reach. What's funny is Disney doesn't even own the Chinese parks.
Yeah, the Tokyo ones.
Who owns them?
Tokyo Land Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is turned out to be a good thing.
Yeah. Nicole, do you have something you were gonna ask?
No, that was it. I was just answering Maddie's question.
It is crazy, and you know, for people who have come to Disney on vacation but never traveled outside of the resort area, you know, it's Orlando is a rough area. And unfortunately, with the amount of tourist traffic, there are a lot of low paying jobs. So you have a lot of people who are, you know, in a rough spot financially. And this, I haven't been up in the area for my day job. We had some business dealings in the outer areas up there. I haven't been up there in a hot minute, but I can only imagine how bad it's gotten, considering how bad it was.
Yeah, it was already terrible. That what was the movie The Florida Project really kind of showed that. Yeah, it was not great to begin with, and it's definitely not any better now, that's for sure.
No. And with no end in sight yet.
Yeah.
And that's I think the worst part of this whole thing is the uncertainty, and no one has a clue as to what's, you know, what should be done, what needs to be done. Everybody's just guessing, and at the end somebody's getting fucked to some degree. It's the way it is, and it's unfortunately the one that's getting fucked is always the lowest man on the totem pole.
Yep.
You know, those the people that were laid off, they're not the executives, they're not, you know, the higher paid people that are being offered a a severance package with with some big dollars. These are people who are hourly making, entertainment. I know pays slightly better, but slightly better is a relative term. A lot of these jobs are paying $15 an hour at a high end.
Yeah. Yep.
They're not, and so these people are in a tough spot to begin with, even without this shit. And I do really feel for them.
Absolutely.
So now moving away from that, the other books that you wrote, you got a total of 3, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you got Our Kingdom of Dust, which is fiction.
That's right. Yep.
And Habston the Disney Saboteurs is fiction as well.
That's also fiction. Yeah. And obviously they both have a lot of basis in reality, because they take place in and around the parks. But yeah, those two are fiction. Kind of where my state of mind was at the time as a Disney fan when I wrote them, and after all the stuff that I experienced after I released Dark Side of Disney.
Okay,
it's kind of what led me to write those two.
Nice. So they're both fictional accounts based on life experience or experiences in the parks.
Yeah.
Tell us about tell us about the books. What
Sure.
would somebody expect?
So Our Kingdom of Dust really. When I wrote Dark Side of Disney, I didn't really know that there were a lot of adult Disney fans. It wasn't a thing that was in the mainstream like it is now, especially like people who were kind of alternative adult Disney fans. And so I didn't know when I released that there were a lot of people out there like me, and they kind of came out of the woodwork when that book came out. And so I talked to a lot of people. I met a lot of people. Was introduced to just a lot of very interesting subculture that had been hidden to me. And what I found was a lot of people were kind of using Walt Disney World as escapism. They were using it almost as a drug. Like they would go to the parks, their life would fade away, whatever problems they had in life would fade away. And for 8 hours or whatever, they could just forget all their problems and kind of be happy and blissful and ignore reality. And that seemed like a really common theme that I found. And I realized I was doing that myself when I went there. Now, some people were taking that to an extreme and they were addicted to it. And to the detriment of their life, their real life, their relationships, their job. And I found that pretty fascinating. So that was kind of the that was kind of what set off my writing Our Kingdom of Dust. And it's about a guy, terrible things happen, and he just decides to pack up and move to Walt Disney World, and he's just going to live there 24/7, and finds this group of people who have discovered this thing called the dust, pixie dust, that they take. It's an actual drug, and it makes them feel when they're not at the parks like they do when they're in the parks.
See, they have a drug out here in real life. It's called crystal meth. Does almost the same thing from what I heard.
So this drug was has a secret ingredient, and anyway, so it was all about this cast of characters who were kind of all I would say damaged in some way, but very sympathetic. And so yeah, that's what that story is about, this main character's journey through this cast of characters. And then Hapst and the Disney Saboteurs was kind of me being like, fuck this place. They are screwing so much stuff up. I just want to blow it all up. And
now, by screwing stuff up, you mean by changing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just little things like the thing that got the idea in my head for that one. I don't know if you remember this, but so the Tiki Room had they had changed it under new management or whatever.
I remember that.
Gilbert Godfrey was in there, and it was just a terrible show. And at some point, it caught fire, and lo and behold, a few months later, they returned it to the original show, and everyone was like, "Thank God someone set that fire." And I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, that's a good plot point. Like, what if someone's going around destroying the crappy things that have been changed and getting them changed back to the originals?"
All right. What's funny about that fire, my stepdaughter used to be a cast member. She actually started on the college program and then ended up staying on in merchandising. And we were there a couple days before the fire in there. And then all of a sudden she calls me up. She's like, "The Tiki Room is burning." I'm like, "How bad?" She's like, "I don't know." She's like, "It's just, I know it's on fire." And then restoring it. I was very happy they restored it. I think the only thing that was good out of that under new management thing was the Tiki goddess that came out from the middle. That was like the only cool thing. The rest of the show, you're right, sucked.
Yeah. And so that's what that book is kind of about. And this guy is basically getting framed for all these sabotages that are happening. And so he has to go find out who's actually doing the sabotaging.
It's a cool concept.
Yeah, it's kind of a mystery, kind of a little sci-fi to it. And after that, I was like, okay, I think I've said what I need to say about Walt Disney World. And at that point, I had gotten pretty heavily into publishing other people's books about Disney, and I've been doing that ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've also been doing a lot of traveling, so you got a lot of travel videos. So if you guys go to YouTube after you're done watching it, don't stop watching this video to go check his stuff. You can check his stuff out later, but check out Dark Side of Disney. There's not only the videos of behind the scenes stuff. There's them doing crazy shit in Disney. Him and his friends, and the other is you do a lot of hotel reviews and travel stuff. You just put out the video about taking Amtrak from Baltimore to Williamsburg.
Yeah,
I've only taken Amtrak once, man, and that was once enough to tell me not to fucking take Amtrak ever. And I took it from I think from Newport News, Virginia, up to New York, up to Penn Station. I went to college in North Carolina, so that was the nearest station to where I was. But that was enough to be like, fuck this shit. No, I'd rather walk.
I like it. Maybe they made some changes, especially now. Like, there's hardly anyone on there, so you can kind of just kick back and relax.
Well, I was also going to preface that by saying I'm 6'4" and 350 pounds, so I don't fit in them little ass seats.
Yeah. So I did a video about the business versus coach class, and you would be one of those cases where it would actually be worth it to upgrade to the business class. For most people, probably not worth it, but yeah, that'd be a good reason to do so.
They got fat guy seats, is what you're saying.
They have more leg room and bigger seats, and but like I said, now you can just spread out wherever the hell you want because no one's riding it. But yeah, so I do the travel videos. I kind of got off the Disney stuff, not 100%, but start traveling to other theme parks around the world that were Disney-esque, or like Disneyland Paris, for example, and still bring the sensibility from the book. I still like the same things I always liked. And so that kind of point of view that I have in Dark Side Disney, I bring to every place I go. And so I think if people trust my opinion or like my opinions about Disney, they'll like my opinions about an all-inclusive in Cancun, for example, or a weird theme park in the Netherlands, things like that.
The one I just watched the video of the second one you made about the Pocono Palace.
Oh yeah.
And what's fun, I remember as a kid, because I grew up in the Northeast, I grew up on Long Island, and seeing commercials for that place, like as a kid, be like, oh, it's so cool. They have champagne glass hot tub.
I've heard so many people around here say that they saw those commercials. That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And one of the comedians that I work with does shows at those resorts. Until this bullshit happened, he was doing he had regular gigs up there. But yeah, it was funny seeing you do those videos and be like, I remember those fucking commercials. I was like 5 years old. I'm like, why would you want to take a bath in a champagne glass? It's like,
and I'm sure nothing has changed since there in those hotels since you were 5. It's like they're stuck in time, but that's part of the allures, the cheesiness and how out of date they are. And they're pretty sexy. Like they're nice places to go with someone.
Maddie's asking, I'm not sure if you've ever been, but have you ever been to Dream World, Australia? Have been to Australia, Leonard?
No, I have not. That's on the list.
I don't think it's Disney-esque, but it'd be closest we have, I reckon. I'm surprised Disney hasn't opened up something in Australia.
Yeah, something.
Leonard, what's your opinion on Dismaland, the art installation that was kind of inspired by Disney, but kind of backwards?
The Banksy one?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Everything I saw about it, I thought was pretty cool. He's definitely got some things to say that are maybe more relevant now than they even were back then. Mm-hmm. He also did that fun stunt where he put the dude in the it was like a blow up doll in a Guantanamo Bay costume and in the Splash Mountain thing. No, I think I wish I had been able to see the Dismaland. That would have been awesome. Everything I saw about it looked pretty cool.
Definitely did. What was I doing before I read that? The books. This is what happens. So you veer off. And
I posted a link to your book on our Facebook page.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Everybody should buy it. You know what? Yes. Fuck it. Buy all 3 of his books.
I want to buy one of your other ones, not the Disney one though. Well, I wanted to buy Our Kingdom of Dust. I have it in my list right now. My Amazon car, whatever.
But
if I mail it to you, will you sign it and mail it back?
Absolutely.
Okay.
or I can just send you a signed copy just straight from me.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
But I wanted to support you. But everybody else should support you too.
Appreciate that.
So in your travels, my favorite park that's not Disney is Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I haven't watched your video of it. But that's a park. Like I said, I went to college in North Carolina, not too far from that area. So I spent a lot of time when I was in college going up there. And to me, especially in the summertime, that park was so beautiful. I haven't been there in almost 20 years. Actually, it's been like 15 years since I've been there. But that park was always so beautiful, well maintained. The plants and the flowers. It was just a beautiful place to go.
Yeah, and that hasn't changed. It still is.
Oh,
and
good.
I love that it's kind of like World Showcase in Epcot because it's country themed by countries, and they have all the different food. But yeah, I mean, it's built along that river, and the coasters weave in and out of the woods.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous. I agree. That's one of my favorite parks. I went there for an event a month and a half ago, and it was nice being back there. It was nice seeing a place where they had like half the park blocked off. You couldn't go left over to the Greece and Italy area. And I don't know.
Why was it closed down? Was it
so they were only doing they're only letting 1,000 people in for limited time events. It was like you could go for 4 hours in the afternoon or 4 hours at night, and they only let 1,000 people in. And it wasn't cheap. I think it was like $50 or something, $65.
I think that's their normal ticket price.
Right.
Or close
So,
to it, yeah.
It was nice just to be back in the park and walk around, but yeah, I don't know. It's still kind of a bummer. I mean, everything's a bummer these days. So
Yeah. Got to make the best of it.
But I do love that park, and I would recommend that park to anyone. It's
Absolutely.
a world-class park.
The last time I was there was October, so they were doing the Howl of Scream.
Cool.
I forget what year it was, but it was one night. It got chilly as it does this time of year, and it was a slight drizzle. The park was like empty, and me and my stepdaughter, my wife didn't want to do it, but me and my stepdaughter just kept going on Loch Ness Monster, over and over again, to the point where the ride operator is like, if you want to go again, just stay there.
Nice.
And we ended up riding it nonstop for like a half an hour. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, it's a really well themed park, and it's very beautiful. I definitely recommend it.
So now the other the other stuff you're doing the hotel, doing hotel reviews. You're traveling. You did the Amsterdam series of videos.
Yep.
How was Amsterdam? I haven't been.
It's maybe my favorite city in the world. I didn't.
Is it everything people say it is? Like, before you went, you heard about what it was. Did it meet your expectation?
It can be if you want it to be. So that was kind of like why I held off on going there for a while, because I thought it was going to be really seedy and kind of like, you got to be in the mood for that sort of thing. And it's like, maybe I'll take a stop there someday when I'm in Europe. I got sent there for my day job, and it was supposed to be for a week, and it ended up being 3 weeks. And I just fell in love with the place. So yeah, you do the red light district, and it is exactly what it says it is. There's shrooms and pot everywhere. Anything you could possibly want as far as that goes. Some of the best stuff in the world. I went to a live sex show. That was great. Pretty illuminating. Never seen anything like that before. So yeah, you can do all that stuff. And
Nicole, are you starting to look at flights to Amsterdam?
I'm getting right on it.
For context on that, Leonard, this past weekend, Nicole worked a fetish party down in Miami. So
perfect.
You're speaking her language.
You would love Amsterdam. Yeah. So all that stuff is true. It's as raunchy as you could possibly want it to be. But there's another side to it that's very beautiful. All the art museums, the boat tours of the canals, biking around, and the food, everything. There's a lot of cool beer and liqueurs. It's a pretty amazing place. And, I feel like people who go there to do the tourist thing just for a weekend are missing out on a lot. But I think that's the case with any tourist destination.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you did the video on that all-inclusive in Cancun. I'm a big fan now. Maybe not necessarily I would do it in Cancun, but when I travel, when I go places, I don't like to go to the touristy areas. Yeah. And it probably comes from growing up in New York. When we went into the city, we wouldn't go to the Empire State Building or the Circle Line tour of Liberty Island. I would go to the neighborhoods where my friends lived and see the real city.
Yeah.
So when I travel, I don't want to go to Applebee's to eat. I want to find a local mom and pop barbecue joint. And that's, I want to see what the place really is.
Yeah. I agree. Everyone should give themselves anywhere, a few extra days to kind of do that local culture thing. Yeah. I did an Alaskan cruise last year about this time. And, as much as I love seeing Alaska, I just felt like all the excursions were this kind of thing where as soon as the cruise crowds left, the towns were just empty. And I never got the feel that I really experienced Alaskan culture. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that when you're on a cruise, but if I was going to go back, I would definitely just get a car and drive around.
One of my bucket list, comedy bucket list things is to perform in a town. I can't pronounce the new name of it, but it used to be called Barrow, Alaska. It's the northernmost town in the northern hemisphere.
Very
You
cool.
know, it's the type of city they got 6 months of daylight, 6 months of darkness kind of thing. There's no way you can't drive there. You can only fly in. I think there's like 3,000 people live there. It's really tiny. But I want to go perform in Barrow, Alaska.
All right.
Because
seems
why
like
the
a-
fuck not, right?
Yeah. Seems like a doable goal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they are about, with comedy up there. I just want to do it. What the hell? Why not?
Yeah, definitely.
Gotta talk to my agent. I got to get an agent first, and then I'll talk to him. Hole on the walls is where you get the real sense of where you happen to be. That's true. That is true. What happens with the holes in the walls? Glory hole joke. Why the fuck not?
Oh, yeah.
No, he meant like hole in the wall places.
Oh,
Duh.
I'm fucked up. Yes, that's what I meant. Why did I read it that way? I got problems. I got fucking problems. So anyway, he's right. Hole in the wall places where you got to go to get the local absorb the local culture. Now that's your favorite place to that's like your favorite place to have visited.
When I go to Europe, I either start or end there. It almost seems like a second home at this point. Just the amount of time I spent there. I really did enjoy Munich, and I would like to go back there sooner rather than later. But the other end of that is I want to go to new places, and it's unfortunate. I actually had a 4-week trip planned out to Japan for October, and obviously that shit didn't happen.
Goddamn COVID.
Yeah. So hoping I can do that next year. But, I think and this is the trap that I got stuck in. It was so easy to go to Walt Disney World because I always knew I was going to have fun. I always knew it was going to be safe, clean, comfortable. And it was just like, I knew how much I was going to spend. And so I fell into, I guess it's a trap, but some people it might not be, of just going back there for every vacation. And when I kind of broke out of that and started traveling elsewhere, it really kind of opened up my eyes to, how much is out there. So I do like going back to places and revisiting them, but I also have to temper that and be like, nope, you got to go somewhere else new now.
So now that was a trip to Japan that was canceled, but what is the one, like the place that's the top of the list for you that you have to go to, but you have not yet been able to?
Yeah, it's going to be it. Like I really wanted to see the leaves changing in Kyoto. I want to go to Tokyo Disney Sea. Everything I've seen about that looks absolutely amazing. And people say it's the nicest theme park in the world. Well, I'll be the judge of that.
You've been to just about all of them at this
I've
point.
been to a lot of them. No, it does look amazing. And I was really looking forward to that. So that's at the top of my list. I need to get out to Ireland and Scotland. That's on the list too. Yeah.
See, that's funny. You specifically mentioned the city of Kyoto. That's also a city I want to visit myself, but for different reasons.
Okay.
So you want to go to see the leaves change and the beauty. I want to go because there's a restaurant there that makes omurice, and there's a video that was circulating around. Think fried rice with a scrambled egg omelet on top, and he cuts it open, and the thing opens up, and then he puts hot gravy on it. Wow. I'm fat as fuck is what I'm getting at, and it just looks delicious.
That sounds great.
But this place is apparently the best place in the world to get it.
Okay.
And that's where it is. So when you do go, check it out.
I
think the place is called Kitschy Kitschy.
Kitschy.
Kitschy
Roger,
Kitschy. I think it's the name of it.
I have good news and bad news for you.
Okay.
Give me the good news about performing in Barrow.
About performing in Barrow.
Okay, give it to me.
Hold on a sec. Sorry, there was an ad that started playing. The good news. Okay, the bad news is there's no comedy clubs informally known as Barrow, Alaska. The good news is that there's a strip club that has comedy shows there.
Fuck yeah, I'm in.
Perfect.
Titties and jokes.
So
does that,
those are like my two favorite things.
I was just gonna say, does that mean you're coming with me?
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
I would say road trip, but you can't fucking drive there.
There are a lot of comedy clubs in Anchorage. That's where the majority of them are, by the way.
Yeah, I mean that's metropolis type area, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of places in Alaska you can't drive to. It's all pretty much bush plains.
Yeah.
That people have planes in Alaska like people have boats here. It's like everybody's got one.
Do you
Yeah,
know
there are a lot
who?
of planes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just still looking at strippers in Alaska, strippers in comedy in Alaska. The last person, it's called Hot Strippers in Point Barrow, and the last comedian to perform there was Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon, nice.
Yeah, so I think there's hope.
All right, I'll have to find who Kevin's agent is and be like, dude, how do I get booked in Barrow? And he'll be like, it's not called
Yes.
Barrow anymore. It's a name you can't pronounce, and you can't perform there until you can pronounce the damn name. It's like Unkavik or something like that.
I just
I want
looked
to say
it
Reykjavik,
up.
but that's Iceland.
I can't read it. Let me look it up. I just found it a second ago too.
There's a U. There's a couple of consonants without vowels in between them. It went back to its native name. Exactly. Istanbul's not Constantinople.
I'm gonna. I don't know. I can't. I'm sorry. I tried.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
I don't want to mess it up too bad and offend anybody.
So is there hope for rescheduling the Japan trip?
They say they're doing the Olympics summer of next year. So if they're going to be able to do that, then I assume I'll be able to go next year.
Yeah, don't make that assumption, because I thought the same thing when I had my summer tour in New York, and New York was doing the VMAs, but they all got exemptions, but my fat ass couldn't get an exemption. So
yeah, I am starting to wonder at this point. It sucks. That sucks.
It does, and I'm sure you had your your heart set on it, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, and instead I went to Williamsburg, which is lovely, but it's not Japan.
See, now you could have come down to Epcot and hung out at the Japan Pavilion. It's it's exactly like the real thing.
Exactly.
Oh man. So you've gotten the warning that you're not allowed back on Disney property. We were talking earlier. So it hasn't been official, but would you come back? Are they gonna make you like repent for your sins?
I don't know if I'd pay money to go back to the parks, but I will say that at least it was kind of, especially Disney Springs was kind of like, where everyone met up. So it's been kind of difficult being like going down there and people being like, hey, let's meet up at, wherever in Disney Springs, Jock Lindsay's. And I'll be like, nope, that's not a good idea. So, just as having Disney owning so much stuff down there, trying to visit friends and meet up with them is a bit of a bummer. It's a big bummer. But I as I said in that video, the goodbye to Epcot video, I just felt like I was paying them to get angry and depressed. And every time I would go into, especially Epcot, I would just walk around and be like, this fucking sucks. And I'd get pissed and I'd get depressed and be like, why am I paying them to feel like this? So I think that would have to change. But then again, like you said, would it be nice to pop into the Japan Pavilion? Yeah, it would.
Okay. What are you doing, Nicole?
Oh, sorry. I was going to share our thing.
Okay.
I was going to share our video around.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Spread the love. Let everybody see it. Send it to your grandmas.
My grandma's dead. Sorry.
So?
No.
So's mine.
Listen, if my grandma was around, she'd probably enjoy the show. No, she wouldn't. Probably not. She probably
probably definitely not.
Probably definitely not.
No, actually, as a matter of fact, Halloween was the anniversary of me burying my grandma, which don't worry about it. We didn't get along, but I just find it funny that she was like this hardcore Christian woman and was buried on Halloween. It was just fucking fitting. You want to do 20 questions?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
sure.
Let's do 20 questions. Some of these are light and topical. Some are deep and philosophical. And there are more than 20 because I don't know how to fucking count. So here we go. 20 questions with Leonard Kinsey. Number 1, what is your non-alcoholic drink of choice? Do you drink anything non-alcoholic?
Oof. Yeah, occasionally. I like I do like my mineral water, my sparkling mineral water, like a good San Pellegrino, Perrier. Yeah, I guess that would be it.
All right. What's your favorite color?
I'm gonna go with green.
Why not?
Why not? I'm Irish. I'll take that.
Well, I mean, if you remember the movie Analyze This, it was only genius. No, I'm sorry, Meet the Parents. He had a green car. He's like, geniuses pick green. Ben
right.
Stiller's like, it's a rental. That's what they gave me. Are you a dog guy or a cat guy?
I'm a cat guy, although I love dogs. But right now I don't have any. I have cats.
Okay. What is the strangest job you've ever had?
Strangest job I've ever had. Huh. I worked at CNN for a few years. That was pretty wild.
In Atlanta?
Yeah. Doing nights and weekends, and that place. That place is pretty wild. And no one has a life. It's a bunch of college kids working nights, weekends. So everyone dates everyone. It's very incestuous. A lot of drama. And then you sit around a lot, and then shit blows up, and you're like, "Holy shit! I guess I got to work." And that was pretty wild job. I also pushed carts around at Publix for about a month. I was the cart boy.
I don't think anyone who grew up in Florida had to have worked at Publix at some point.
Right?
It's like it's just one of those things.
The rite of passage. Yeah.
Number 5. What is Leonard Kinsey's biggest fear?
Wow, my biggest fear. Sheesh, that's a good one.
Reenactment of Prohibition.
Oh God, that would be terrible. No, I will say, I guess just the biggest fear is leaving the world without bringing joy or any sort of change to it. I want to make a mark. I want to leave it hoping that I've made some sort of contribution. So that's kind of what
I think you're on your way to that.
Well, thank you.
Number 6, what is your guilty pleasure song? What you'll crank and rock the fuck out to until you stop at a light and you got to turn it down because you don't want nobody knowing.
Air Supply, Out of Nothing at All.
That's a good song, man.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Number 7, what fictional character do you most identify with? And you can't take one from your own books.
I was going to say, kind of rate myself into those. Geesh, it changes as I grow. Back in high school, I would have said Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye. At times I would say Jay Gatsby from Great Gatsby. Just looking back on a past life, your past, and the mistakes you've made, and trying to recapture some of that youth, and that kind of always speaks to me, no matter where I am in life.
Okay, I like it. Number 8, vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Caught him off guard with a stupid question.
Loaded question.
Number 9, what is your go-to comfort food? The thing that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy?
Nachos. Definitely nachos.
Like loaded up like a motherfucker nachos?
I just, everywhere I go, I'll get the nachos if they're on the menu. That's just, when I travel internationally, any country, try the nachos.
Forget the local food. Try the nachos.
It's so interesting to see how other countries make nachos and pizza. Like, and most places they really fuck them up bad. So it's just interesting to see how they fuck them up in completely different ways.
Hey, I know about pizza being fucked up. I grew up in the pizza capital of the world, and now I'm in Florida,
Sure.
where Domino's is good pizza.
Right.
Number 10. What is your favorite cheesy movie?
Cheesy movie, huh? I don't know. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all those 80s, comedies and stuff, but I don't know if they're considered cheesy or not. Like,
Some of them are. Some of them are.
yeah.
I mean, I just watched Meatballs, which I hadn't watched in fucking forever.
Okay.
And as a mom, like this was a friggin' hilarious movie. I remember I'm watching like this is cheesy.
Sure.
And half
okay.
of this shit couldn't happen today in a film.
So something like Weird Science, where they make the girl in the computer, and the Kelly LeBrock comes out of the computer, essentially, like something like that. I would say
That is a good definition of a cheesy movie. Great movie,
Yeah.
funny movie, classic, but it is cheesy. Number 11. Again, you can't choose one of your own, but what is your favorite literary work?
It's gonna be, again, probably Great Gatsby. There's some ones that are a close second. I'm a big fan of American Psycho, which definitely influenced some of my stuff. But yeah, I always go back to Gatsby.
Okay, it's a good foundation. Number 12. If you could have lived through any time period, what time period and why? You could include the present. I don't know why the fuck you would, but
I'm kind of thrilled with what I live through right now.
Yeah.
Seeing the internet being born and technology just kind of going crazy. It's been pretty fucking wild. And
how old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay, so you're just slightly older than me, but and growing up, we grew up, elementary school years, computers were just coming in, but they weren't part of the educational. So you had a computer class, but it wasn't. You played Oregon Trail or, typing or something like that. But you didn't. By the time I was in high school, my senior year of high school, all the classrooms had a computer, not computers for everybody, but that's when computers was really coming about, and seeing that development was pretty damn incredible.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. I've just been astounded every day at the advances that are being made, and it's really cool. I mean, it's a neat time.
What a time to be alive.
Absolutely.
Just avoid the Rona.
Yeah.
Number 13. What is your adult beverage of choice?
Yeah, it's gonna be a gin and tonic ultimately. And like I've done some videos where I make my own. I think I kind of perfected my own recipe.
What is the perfect Leonard Kinsey gin and tonic?
I like Beefeater gin, and at the time I made the video, there really weren't a lot of good tonic waters, so I would actually make my own tonic water, make my own syrup, and now there's just a plethora of choices that are really high quality. But for as far as what you can get everywhere, the Fever Tree Indian tonic water, and then I'd say a quarter of a lime squeezed into it, and then put in there. It's nice. Perfect.
Nice. So Benny says Kahlua is his favorite alcoholic beverage. It was like a month or so ago that I realized and found out Kahlua is not Hawaiian, from Mexico.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
I didn't know that either.
I never knew that. I mean, I've drank bottles and bottles of that shit. Never knew it was from Mexico.
No idea. Huh.
Yeah, I thought it was Hawaiian.
I did too.
Now you know. You learned something, man. Number 14. I don't know if you have a significant other, but if you did and you were given a celebrity free pass to nail any celebrity, now no Bill Cosby action. They have to be a willing participant in this hypothetical. Who would the celebrity be?
Oh, it's been a while since there's been a celebrity who's really been like, wow, like but I remember
They all kind of look the same now.
Yeah, I remember Selma Blair.
We should clarify that they can be living or dead.
So it would have been Selma Blair if she's first still living, but oh wow, maybe Catherine. No, Audrey Hepburn maybe.
All right, that's classy.
Yeah. Just so curious how she was in bed, so classy in the movies,
Yeah. All right. She'd make you do all the work.
I don't know. That's what I wonder. Like, would she, or would she be a total freak in the sheets? Like,
that's damn good. I'm a car guy. So it's 2-part question. Number 1, what is your dream car? And what was your first car?
I'm a guy who's likes a car that is comfortable and gets me places reliably. So
practical.
Yeah. So I'll answer your question in reverse. My first car was a 1989 Camry, Toyota Camry, and that was a great car. And I've stuck with Camrys ever since. I deviated into the Pontiac Bonneville territory, and that was a huge mistake. So I work on my cars myself, and I'm just really comfortable with the Camry. So the next purchase is going to be probably a Camry hybrid. So I guess that is my dream car, which is the most ridiculous thing for Leonard Kinsey to say, but there it is.
I got to be honest with you. I was shocked that it was that you're a full hardcore Toyota Camry. There's nothing wrong with the Camry. It's a great automobile. Always was, always will be.
Easy to work on.
Not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
What was the first album you ever remember buying?
Pyromania, Def Leppard.
Oh, that was a damn good one.
Yep. And I wore that thing out.
That was awesome, a damn good one.
Yep.
Number 17. What is the social cause you most stand for?
I am really big into the animal rescue stuff. So for example, like my Amazon purchases all go toward a local shelter.
Okay.
And that for me is probably my biggest one. But obviously there's plenty of other things that I care deeply about. But that one, as far as making an immediate difference, it's hard to deny, getting an animal paired up with a loving home.
Okay.
It's a good feeling.
I like that one. Number 18. Are you a video game guy? What's your favorite video game?
I was a video game guy back in middle school, and I was in elementary school. I was huge on the Atari 2600. I was huge on the original Nintendo, and I remember Zelda just killed it for me. I played Legend of Zelda for months and just never got to the end. And I was just kind of like, I don't have time for this shit anymore. And now I would love to have an original Tron arcade in my house. That would be the coin-op arcade game. Oh, that game's awesome. I love that game. So that would be a dream. That would be awesome.
Number 19. What would you consider to be your dream job?
My dream job. I'm kind of doing it. Like, I've dabbled in so many things over the years that I thought would be my dream job. Being a performing musician, for example, I did that for years, and kind of got burned out on that. I still think being like a travel writer and travel videographer is just great because I get to go to new places and show it to other people and put my spin on it. And I can't imagine ever getting tired of that. Like, there's always someplace new to see.
All right. I like that. Number 20. What is the most crazy, weird, bizarre, interesting fact about you? Something that would surprise your followers and
That would surprise.
I can only imagine what the fuck
Sheesh.
it's gonna be.
Yeah, I know. Like, wow, that I'm actually like a normal person, and you could wait. When I first started this whole thing, I wore this mask. It was like a Groucho
Yeah.
mask, and I talked in this crazy voice like this, and I just freaked out, and I would yell, and I remember everyone I met, like in real life, would be like, "Oh my God, you're so normal," and I'd be like, well, "Yeah, I guess so." So I think that was like a deep dark secret for a while. You know, I had this crazy public persona that I'd created to sell this book, and yeah, I think people just are always shocked to sit down with me like you're doing now and actually have a semi-normal conversation.
Well, my perspective is different in that, you know, I like to say that a lot of the people I'm friends with are different, as it were, and they, you know, surprising. But then when you boil it down and you sit and have they're, you know, normal people. They just do weird shit,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Talking about you, Nicole.
Thanks.
Let's see. Number 21. Is the Earth round or flat?
I'm pretty sure it's round. I'm 100% sure about that.
I'm pretty fucking sure at this point. Number 22. What did you want to be when you grew up? When you were a kid?
God, yeah, no, I wanted to be a brain surgeon.
Really?
Actually, got my I got my degree in neuroscience, and obviously that didn't pan out. But
I've
yeah.
I've a reason to believe that you're having a little bit more fun now than you would have been if you became a neurosurgeon.
Which is literally the reason why I didn't do it. I worked at a place with a bunch of residents for my work study in college, and saw these bright-eyed, bushy-tailed residents come in, and 6 months later they look like zombies. They were not having fun, and I was like, this looks terrible.
Sure, the paycheck, the potential paycheck is huge, but
Eventually, but
at what cost?
yeah, exactly.
If you make it that far without fucking overdosing on anesthesia.
Sure.
Number 23. What is your preferred music streaming service?
I have Amazon Prime, so I usually use that. Or honestly, like a lot of the music that I watch is on YouTube.
Okay.
That's kind of the first place I'll go. If someone tells me about a new band or something, I'll check it out on YouTube.
My thing is, if somebody tells me about a new band or a new song from a band, mainly a new band, I'll go and find them performing. I'll find the album version and then find them performing live and see how it stacks up.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because there are some bands that sound great in the studio and not so good live.
I agree 100%.
And that holds a lot of weight for me.
Yeah, me too.
My
I
final
hate Hoobastank.
question. You hate Hoobastank?
Yeah, because I used to like them, and then I saw them live and I was like, what? This is terrible. And then that's it. Sorry.
You also hate the Foo Fighters, and that makes me a little sad.
I like the Foo Fighters.
Sorry.
too.
But you've made me come around. Oh. Whatever. I like
What?
Nickelback.
Oof. Okay.
No, hang on.
Honestly,
Everybody shits on Nickelback, including me. But what did they do besides try and be a band?
That's what
Like,
I'm
really?
saying. I like them.
Oh, that's a big
I
discussion.
like them. But you've made me come around with Metallica.
What? Wait. With Metallica?
Yeah, like you made me come around with Metallica more.
I don't like Metallica. Well, I mean, I like Metallica up until the Black Album. After the Black Album, it's been trash. Once Lars got friends in Congress, they started to suck. And I see Leonard nodding, so
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I just
Well,
say
then I must have. Oh,
What,
go
what?
on. I was gonna say I must have you mistaken with somebody else because people shit on
Yeah.
me for not liking Metallica.
No, I mean, if any song comes on, if it was Black Album or before, I'll listen to it. Anything, I just can't listen to it. It just they sold out hardcore, and the music just tanked.
Yep.
My last question, which is probably the most important question: iPhone or Android?
I'm an Android guy.
Hey, we love Leonard.
Yeah. I just I got an iPhone for work at one point. They gave it to me, and I I ended up throwing it against the wall. I got so frustrated with it. Just I felt very limited by it. I mean, no, people love their iPhones, to each their own, but no, not for me.
All right, that's bonus points in my book. Nicoleolio, your turn.
Leonard, can you take us through a typical day in life?
Oh, of me? Well, I
Yeah.
work from home and I have for a while, so things didn't really change for me much when COVID hit. So kind of wake up, not super early, and because I'm not a morning person, and feed my cats, and maybe I'll get dressed, maybe not, and yeah, do some work, eventually take a shower, try to get some exercise in, maybe eat eventually, and then when the work's done, I like to watch movies and drink fine drinks, and yeah, on the weekends I try to get out and go to new farm breweries or wineries, travel, but yeah, my days are pretty chill.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you're in the Baltimore area, right?
I am. Yeah.
What made you go from Clearwater to Baltimore?
Yeah. I used to come here every summer to visit my dad, who moved here when I was a kid, and he was one of those dads where he was a lot more lenient about things than my mom was. So it was always like a blast coming here to visit him, and let me watch rated R movies, let me drink his beer, things like that. So it was kind of like, I think I always associated Baltimore with like a really good time, and I was looking for some place on the East Coast to move, and I don't know, it just felt right when I came here and started spending some time here. And I was kind of a nomad at the time. I kind of jumped around a few different places, and man, Baltimore just sucked me in. I've been here
It's not.
for
I'm asking. It's just not a normal move for people. Usually, people are getting out of Baltimore.
it's a quirky, weird place, which is perfect for me. It's the kind of place where if you're doing something cool, you can make your mark, and I really appreciated that about it. Whether it was music scene or the filmmaking, the local indie filmmaking scene, like you could do something awesome and get recognized, as opposed to a place like New York or LA where you just get buried. And
Especially LA.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I just felt like it was a good place for my weird stuff. It's the home of John Waters, like who I feel a very strong connection to him and his work compared to mine. He was a big influence on me, and it's a good mix of the South and the North, and I don't know. It's just it's a great little town. I kind of don't want to tell too many people to move here because they'll fuck it up.
Like what's happening down here.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned John Waters, and as far as what your aspirations are on the film end, what do you what's your
Yeah,
what do you like to do on that side?
I kind of still describe myself as like a PG-13 R-rated Rick Steves. Like,
Okay.
I love Rick Steves, but he's a little too old school, corny. Old people like him. More like Anthony Bourdain, except not as angry. I I think I have my own voice and my own
Perspective.
yeah, and so I'd like to keep doing that.
Okay.
And I went through the indie filmmaking scene in another life. I made a feature film, and which was great. Learned a lot from that. Not something I'd ever really want to do again. I'm really happy with the travel video stuff. It's very rewarding.
And you seem, watching you do and watching your video, you seem very comfortable doing it. It's not forced. It's just, it's just coming through organically.
I appreciate that,
which is a nice thing to see.
I'm glad it comes off like that.
And you see a lot of these travel bloggers and people doing the videos, and it's like it doesn't seem like they're there having a good time. So it's
Yeah.
it doesn't entice you to want to go.
Yeah, I think a lot of these people kind of think they know what the public wants. They try to gear their personality toward what their viewers want or what the public in general wants, and they just end up being generic and the same as everyone else and saying the same things that everyone else says. Especially, I hate to say it, in the Disney blogger realm, something opens and you got 100 people all go and film the same thing, saying the same damn thing about it.
Yeah.
And the only way to differentiate yourself in any art is by being yourself, by expressing your own personality. And I don't see a ton of that. So I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad it comes off like that.
Good. What else did I have? The films, the book. You have it. Are you working on any other books? Or are you done with the done with the writing?
I am. There might be another book left in me, but for right now, what I've really been focusing on is the publishing stuff. When I did Dark Side of Disney, I made a fake publishing company, Bamboo Forest Publishing, and self-published because people were scared to death to publish it because they were scared.
It's controversial.
Yeah, and they thought Disney Legal was going to come after them. The ones who were willing to take it on were giving me like a percentage point or something terrible.
Yeah.
So I self-published. And then did Our Kingdom of Dust. And after those two came out, people started sending submissions to the fake publishing company. And by that point, I had a pretty good team. I had an editor, a layout designer, a graphic artist for the covers. So I started taking other people on, and that's been 8 years now. And I think probably at least 10 different authors. So yeah, I've been still cranking out a few books, and they're all different. So I actually have some here. So I've got Spectre 13. This just came out by a guy named Nick Perbersky, and this is like, I describe these like kind of Die Hard in Disney World.
Okay.
So there's this evil villain who's gonna release this nerve gas in Epcot, and it's up to this detective who's the head of security now at Walt Disney World to kind of foil the plot. And they're exciting. They're super exciting books. So
now the books that your company's publishing are Disney based,
yeah,
whether they're fiction, not it's all
exactly.
Disney based.
Yeah, and then so the newest one I did is nonfiction, Polishing the Dragons by Jeff Blythe, and this is he's the guy who made the Circle Vision film in China, in the China Pavilion.
Okay.
Yeah, and imagine going into China where they don't want you to film anything to begin with, and then trying to film a 360-degree film. This guy kept a great journal, and it's full color. So there's pictures. There's over 400 color pictures, and it's fascinating. It's one of those things where, like you were saying earlier, it's a story that needs to be told, and you don't want it to get lost in history. And I get it's a very niche subject. I get it's not for everyone, but
it's not for everyone, but it's for someone.
Yeah, and the story needed to be told. It needs to be out there. 50 years from now, it's going to get used as a primary source for someone doing, whatever kind of research on Epcot or China or filmmaking. So I go back and forth between, really serious stuff like that, and then stuff like Nick's books, which is just pure entertainment, awesome entertainment.
Nice. I have to check that out. Now, one thing, talking about the history and how it should be preserved. Did you catch the Imagineering story on Disney Plus?
I did.
What'd you think?
I thought the first few episodes are really, really pretty awesome. To me, it became a little too up its own ass after that, like a little too corporate. It seemed like once all the stuff with the current administration came in, it was more like a PR piece. But those first 3 or whatever episodes with Walt involved, I think were fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
And those are the stories that those are the type of stories. Yeah, everybody sees, and going back to what we were saying earlier about it, what really fascinates us is how it works and the behind the scenes and the history. And that's really what, to me, has the most appeal.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
Another park that I really like is Cedar Point in Ohio.
Okay.
Concrete and steel. It's nothing fancy. Great. If you like roller coasters, go there.
Okay.
Don't expect theming. Don't expect an immersive environment. Expect thrill rides. It is tops. They have the best roller coaster. So I forget how many coasters they have now. It's got to be 20 or more than 20, and all, high, fast, just incredible machines. But that place has an amazing history. One of the first roller coasters in the world was built there. So there's that, even that history outside of that Disney bubble is there.
Sure.
Fun fact, the most famous roller coaster in the world is the Coney Island Cyclone.
Huh.
I've never ridden the fucking thing.
I haven't either. So do you mind if I take a pee break?
Go pee break.
All right. And I'm going to grab another drink too.
You go, girl.
Be right back.
Yes, sir. So Nicole, let's talk about your weekend. How was it?
It was a lot of fun. I saw my family that I haven't seen in a while. Shout out to my cousins.
Shout out to Nicole's cousins.
Yeah, and I got to walk along Hollywood Beach, and the event was a success. And yeah, that's all.
Good.
But I have a holiday for you.
What do you got?
It's National Sandwich Day.
Ooh, what's funny? I did not eat it. Today's a weird day. I did not eat a sandwich. I made two batches of macaroni and cheese, but I did not eat a sandwich.
Hey, I ate macaroni and cheese today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it just plain mac and cheese? What kind of mac and cheese we talking?
From a box, but I always make it fancy.
Right. Yeah. I made two batches of homemade mac and cheese. One was bacon mac and cheese, and the other one had ham and broccoli.
Why is somebody referring to you as Raj Karen?
I don't know who that is. Somebody from New York, because it says Ranger fan. Oh, hey, Rod. That's Karen.
Oh, sorry.
That's Karen saying, hey, Raj. Okay. It clicked. The Ranger fan. I knew it was somebody from back home.
Oh, sorry. All right. Anyway, it's also National Homemaker Day. So shout out to your stay-at-home makers.
Stay-at-home moms, dads, and others.
Yes, exactly. I didn't want to exclude anybody.
Hey, just fuck it, everybody.
Happy Homemakers Day.
Happy Homemakers Day.
Do you want to hear a Florida man story?
No, I want you to wait for Leonard to come back. We'll
Okay.
talk Florida. We'll talk Florida man when he comes back.
Okay.
But do you have any other holidays, birthdays?
I have some birthdays. Shout out to Kendall Jenner, who turns 25 today.
Hey, happy birthday, whore. I don't know.
Much better.
And then a lot of YouTube stars.
Really?
A lot. Yeah. Nobody else.
Nobody anybody cares about? What are we? We're talking
important.
celebrity birthdays, Leonard.
Oh.
Who else we got? Who we got?
Just Kendall Jenner. She's the only one worth
the only
mentioning at all.
So
Yeah.
none of those YouTube personalities are worth mentioning? They're human
No.
beings too.
Okay.
Oh, fuck them, man. I don't care.
Nihachu turns 19,
Hey.
and she's actually a Twitch star. Okay. All right. There you
Okay.
go.
All right. We'll go with that.
You
Not
don't.
heard of
Yeah.
these people.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Leonard, you're familiar with Florida Man,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
the mythical beast of Florida Man.
That's a real
Nicole
thing.
every week talks about a Florida Man story.
Oh,
What do we got, Nicole?
A Florida man drove naked with wires on his penis.
I cannot confirm nor deny where I was at the time of said sighting.
He was from Boynton Beach.
All right,
And,
that wasn't me.
This happened a couple of years ago, but apparently he had a fetish that he would like to drive through neighborhoods and show his penis being tortured to people.
What was he driving? Out of
It didn't say.
curiosity.
It didn't
I'm
say.
assuming it wasn't like a lifted truck because you got to like fucking hang it out the window to show it off at that point.
Nope, doesn't say what he was driving, but yeah, so he was arrested.
So the cops were kink shaming him, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what it
Right.
sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like to me. But hey, consent is key, okay? And if they
That's
didn't
true.
have consent to look, then
That's true. That's true. Is that the only Florida man story you had?
Nah. I had a Florida Disney man story, but it wasn't from today. I wanted to
Okay,
give it to you.
Give it anyway.
Yeah.
There was
You're in the perfect forum for it.
I know. I specifically looked for Disney stories, for Florida man Disney stories. There was a gentleman this year who was caught camping out, and he thought that he was in a tropical paradise.
I mean,
at
but-
Discovery Island.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It was on there's a spot in Disney or on Disney property called Discovery Island. It used to be like an go see the animals kind of thing before Animal Kingdom Park opened.
Mhm.
And it's essentially abandoned.
Yep.
Almost abandoned in place. There's still buildings and structures, and they just took the animals off and stopped going to the island. But people will still. Have you ever? I'm sorry, Leonard. Do you know anybody who's been to that island?
Yeah, there's a chapter in my in Dark Side Disney where I interviewed Shane Perez, who I think was the first one to document himself going over there. He's kind of like a professional photographer, urban explorer, and took some beautiful photos. And then I'm good friends with a guy named Nomius who went over there. He kind of, as he called it, borrowed a Disney boat and went over there in the middle of the night. And
Did he get caught?
No, neither one of them got caught.
Wow.
And I think both of them were a little bit naive as to the dangers involved with not only the gators in the water, but like just the amount of boat traffic that's going on around there, especially even at night.
Yeah.
And then once you get on the island, it's abandoned and it's crumbling, and there's some creepy stuff on there.
Yeah.
And I get the impression they left a lot of the birds there. So there's just like a lot of vultures everywhere and like just weird birds. So
Well, fun fact, there was a bird called the dusky seaside sparrow that went extinct on Discovery Island. The last known specimen was on Discovery Island and it died.
I had no idea.
Oh,
Now
That
you
is a
know.
fun fact.
Now you know. Not really
Wow.
that fun, but
It's
of
pretty interesting.
all those the behind the scenes backstage sneaking around videos, the one that really blew my mind was, I think the guy's name is Matthew Sanswa.
Yeah.
He got onto the plane. He got onto
Yeah.
the Walt's plane, and
Yep.
seeing the condition of the interior of it was like, I was amazed.
Yeah. No, Matt's quite a character. He's just doesn't give a fuck. He's gotten
Nope.
banned multiple times. He still keeps going back. When they ask you not to come back, you come back, you get a felony trespass. And that's kind of where I draw the line as far as it being worth it. He just doesn't care, which, okay. Like the videos are cool as shit. So
that one and the one, I don't know if it was him, but he published a video, whoever it was, on Big Thunder Mountain at night.
yeah.
That was well, I'm not going to say if it was him or not. He published it. That's as
He
far as
did.
I can prove.
Yeah.
But that was, just ballsy. Definitely ballsy.
Yeah. It's been interesting seeing stuff like that because back when I first started doing my stuff, the reaction was insane. And it almost seems like it's been a little normalized now, but I had death threats when I published some of my
Well,
backstage
it's normalized
videos.
now because so many people jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
There are
I guess
so
that's
many
true.
people doing it now. So it's like, the thrill is gone, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I mean, there was never a video of the utilidors before I posted mine, and that just blew people away. I remember, but then
The death threats is a little extreme, though. I mean,
that one, there were a few that I actually took down, just because immediately, like within, I'm talking like an hour of them being online, I was getting people threatening to come to my house and beat me with a baseball bat. Like,
Jesus.
actually, an Imagineer threatened to come to my house and beat me with a baseball bat.
What the hell was that video about? Or you don't want to say?
No, I can say because it's not online anymore. For Epcot's 30th, I flash mobbed behind the scenes tours. I got a group of 30 people to meet up at various places and then took them backstage at Epcot.
Holy shit.
And
that's hilarious.
I thought it was clever, but other people didn't agree. So only one of the videos went online, and within like 5 minutes it had 600 views, and like I said, people were just very upset. I get it. I think if I released it now, people would be like, whatever, that's cool. But at the time, it was bad news, and people were extraordinarily unhappy about that.
Now, what's the coolest thing you've ever seen backstage?
Let's see. That's a good question. The utilidors still blow me away. It's a marvel of engineering. Just the fact that they built an entire city and then built a theme park on top of that city. It's nothing like great, but I just remember going down there the first time and just being like in awe of the whole thing. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. It's back in the back of Universe of Energy in the break room. They used to have some of the animatronic dinosaurs. That was pretty cool because you could they had the innards exposed and you could kind of move them around and make the pterodactyl wings like go up and down. That was pretty neat.
See, the one place I've always wanted to go, I just never had the balls to go up the stairs, was in the Imagination Pavilion.
ImageWorks.
Yeah.
That was scary as shit.
I don't remember I don't think we went up there when we went there in the early 90s. I don't remember when that closed down and when they closed it off. But ever since I was going, really since 2006, it's always been closed.
Yeah, well, it was an amazing place to go. I loved it as a kid. I had really fond memories, and then that was on my list of things to go back to, and I did. And again, it was nighttime. That was really scary. It was pretty much pitch black in a lot of places, totally silent. And that's one of the ones where I got busted. I got busted by a cast member up there, and it did talk my way out of it. But yeah, that was a really weird thing. And now they've converted a lot of it into a DVC lounge.
Yeah, well, the main part under the pyramid is the DVC lounge.
Yeah,
but the rainbow tunnel is like walled off.
Yep.
The movable walls, temporary walls, but it's still there. For anybody who's watching who doesn't know what the rainbow tunnel is, there's a picture of Michael Jackson.
It's classic.
Absolutely one of the classic pictures of him in front of what looks like a tunnel of neon lights that kind of curves. That's the rainbow tunnel. Maddie in Australia is asking, didn't gators there eat someone's child? Yes.
He was talking about on the island.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen on the island. That actually happened on the beach at the Grand Floridian. Yep. What people don't realize when they come here on vacation is we are in the gators' home. Even though it's Disney and everything's sanitized, for lack of a better term, gators still exist. If there's fresh water in Florida, expect an alligator to be around. Whether there's one or not, but especially there's a shitload of alligators in those waters. And, the sign said no swimming. They let the kid in the water.
It's really sad. It's true. So I've got a chapter about that in the book too, about kind of all the things that can kill you in Florida, essentially. And I think people come to Disney and they just automatically assume that, well, it's Disney World, it's all fake, or it's not real. Nothing bad can happen to me here. No, there are real gators, there are real snakes, there are real fire ants. There's the brain-eating amoeba in the water.
Yeah.
So
now, I mean, one thing I will give Disney credit for, they take as much precaution as they can to mitigate those problems, but they're still here.
It's nature. Yeah, it's Florida.
Florida's the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles naturally live. So,
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's saltwater crocodiles. There's a guy that's got a YouTube channel. What the hell is it called? Down in Miami, there's a boat ramp where there's this huge fucking saltwater crocodile that just chills around the boat ramp.
Wow.
And the dude just takes video of it.
Let's check that out.
Yeah, it's like Miami boat ramps or something like that. But it's crazy. I was in the Magic Light Parade twice and was traumatized backstage seeing all the character heads lined up on the sidewalk. That's something they usually try to hide from everyone. But yes, that's a real human being in there.
Yep.
I love the videos of the Disney bloopers where, like, you know, they're doing a dance routine, the head pops off or an eye pops back. Those are it's just funny to see. You don't want people getting traumatized or kids getting traumatized over it, but it's just funny to see they go through great lengths to try and be perfect, and those mishaps happen.
Yeah, and you know, walking around the utilidors, that was another shocking thing. You know, seeing people half out of costume, seeing kind of the heads just laying around. Seeing Snow White making out with a cowboy, you know, like.
Well, I was just gonna say the video that came from Disneyland Paris. There was a video of the characters in costume, you know, like gyrating on each other. Yeah. Somebody leaked the video. Mickey and Minnie are filthy.
They are.
All right, so coming up to the end. Aside from the books that you've already published, and you know the ones you mentioned that you're currently publishing for the other authors, you got anything else going on that you want to tell the people about?
No, I mean, you know, check out the YouTube channel, like you said, Dark Side Disney. I'm always doing something. It's a little more difficult these days, obviously, but I'm still trying. Probably hit up another all-inclusive at some point soon, and drink my way through that. But there's always Bamboo Forest Publishing is the name of the publishing company, and you know, we may not release a ton of books, but I like to think that everything that we release is something that I enjoy reading. So if you've read my books or any of the books we've released, I would say anything that we come out with is you know, you can buy it sight unseen if you like the other stuff that I release, because it's all curated through me. Yeah, other than that, I think there's the audiobook for Polishing the Dragons coming out. We're going to be doing a thing for the guy who wrote Spectre 13. He's written a few books now in this series with the same main character. We're going to do an ultimate edition. It's going to combine all of them into one massive thing. So that'll be a good deal for people who haven't gotten into it yet. That'll be a good way for them to jump into it. But no, there's always something. I published a book by Rolly Crump, the Imagineer, who did Haunted Mansion, Small World, World's Fair, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And if you're a fan of that book or of him in general, you can go to, I have an online store at storeenvy.com. It's bambooforest.storeenvy.com. And there's some signed prints from him, and they're
nice,
very, very reasonably priced. He's not getting any younger.
Nope.
He's in his 90s now, and
again, stories that need to be told.
Absolutely. And so now's the time to not to be morbid, but if you want signed art from him, now's the time to get it. So yeah, you can pick those prints up, and who knows what else I'll get into in the future, but right now that's all I'm doing.
Nice. Nicolio, what you got on your schedule?
Every Friday and Saturday, you can find me at Marquee in downtown St. Pete with K2 Lemieux and a couple of other amazing dancers who we've had on the show before. And other than that, there's a couple of Hora Locas coming up in November and December. And maybe something for New Year's planned. Maybe not. I don't know. But follow me on Instagram at NIKOLE_Raven. That's Nicole with a K _Raven like the bird. And you can always be updated there for everything I'm doing.
Excellent. As far as for me, my schedule is still open, people. Fucking book me. It's kind of hard to do stand-up comedy these days. But I am available. Weddings, funerals, whatever. I'll tell jokes for anyone. I don't care. You can follow me at Real Roger Nelson. Don't forget to follow this show at FooBar Weekly on all social media platforms. Leonard, I really appreciate you coming on with us and talking.
It's been great.
Really appreciate it. And we do this every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. And don't forget to spay or neuter your children. Nicole.
Fubar out.
Yay. All right, we're offline.